And we welcome you back once again to Forbes Sports Money. As we continue our inside look into the Celtics ownership group, we move on now to Wyc Grousbeck, the CEO of the Celtics, who was raised in the Boston area, but had made a happy and successful life for himself and his family in Northern California. However, in 1992, he quit his job and moved back to Boston in order to deal with a family health crisis. It was this unforeseen move that would eventually lead him to the path of Celtics ownership.
Wyc, what brought you to Boston?
Well, my wife and I had our second son, Campbell, our second child, Campbell, in '92, and he was born blind. And we looked around, and within 2 years, we realized that Perkins School for the Blind here in Watertown is the leading school for the blind in the world, and starts at age 2, educating toddlers in an early preschool. And we just wanted Campbell here, and so we came back to where I was born and raised, and rebuilt our lives here in Boston for Campbell.
Wyc, in 2002, when you and a group bought the Boston Celtics, a lot of people were astounded at the $360 million purchase price, in particular because you were coming in as a tenant to this building and not an owner. What were your thoughts at that time in terms of being able to make a return on the investment and buying the team?
The idea of buying the team was that it was probably the last Boston team to be sold in my lifetime, and I wanted to be part of it. And it wasn't actually for sale, but I went down and found the owner in Manhattan and sort of beat down his door and said, "What's the price? How much?" It was, I thought, a safe investment. We would maybe lose a little or make a little, or it might double someday. But it was really more, it's probably a safe place to put money, and we'd have the time of our lives. It was really more about what we could do with it and the pride coming back. And I named the company Banner 17. Money was way down the list.
Is it unusual being part of an ownership group that runs a team with multiple owners? What challenges has that presented, and how have you made it work?
Well, we made it very crisp and clear in the very beginning exactly how decisions would be made. Everybody's comfortable with it. My father and I have the controlling interest in the team from that standpoint, but we enjoy consulting with our partners. It is a partnership, and we're 10 years in, and it's been fantastic.
What did winning the championship do for this team in terms of increasing revenue and opening up business opportunities?
You know, I think that championship year might have been one of our weaker financial years, actually. I mean, we've been selling out for years now. I'm glad to say, appreciate the fans coming. That particular year, I think we lost a little money the championship year. Maybe it was buying the rings. I don't know what it was, or whatever we did. But you know, it's about the championship, and then the money follows. If you run the team the right way, this is my point of view. If you run it hot, if you put everything you can into it, everything you can into basketball, everything you can into servicing and thanking customers and sponsors, everything you possibly can do, run it hot. Okay, don't run it cold, don't run it cheap, run it hot. Then when it goes well, you know, it all pays back one way or another.
Were you surprised at how hard it was to get back to winning?
Well, we learned the business along the way. We came in not knowing exactly how to run a pro team, obviously. I had been a venture capital investor, and here I am the CEO and sort of chairman of the team. So learn on the fly. It's a tough league. It's very, very competitive. There's some very smart people with a lot of resources in this league. You need superstars to win the NBA. We decided you need 3 superstars to win. We went back and looked at the last 25 years. That's how you win. So we built up and waited and bided our time until we could trade for Ray, our second superstar, and then KG, our third. And when that happened, all of a sudden, we're the best team in the league.
You were also, I believe, the first NBA team to incorporate technology that allows you in real time to sort of monitor what seats and season tickets are being sold, something with StatBridge. Right. How successful has that been?
I don't know if we were the first. I'm happy if we were. We're early. I know Mark Cuban is always early on these things, and others, but we're trying to be at the very cutting edge of technology. We want to know what seats are selling, what seats aren't. We will change prices. We're more like an airline now, much more dynamic than we used to be. And we know if you're coming to the game, we know if you're using your tickets. If a season ticket holder doesn't swipe his or her tickets for 2 games in a row, they'll get a call or a letter or an email saying, "Is everything okay? You want to talk? Is there anything we could do better?" We want them to use their seats, and we want them happy so that they'll come back next year. And it's working. Our renewal rate this year was over 94%.
What about the NBA internationally? I know you guys played some games in Milan during the off-season. How much potential do you think there is for the NBA outside of the United States?
It's a great sport internationally. Basketball and soccer are the two really worldwide sports, and we sort of control the best basketball in the world. Unlike soccer, which is kind of split up into fiefdoms, the NBA really, is the place to go for basketball. We were in Istanbul, we were in Milan. The stands were full of green. They took the Heat to China recently. Everybody's wearing a Heat jersey. It's a great opportunity for us. We are very profitable internationally now as a league. That trickles to every team, but I expect it to double and triple in the future.
What has surprised you the most about being the owner of this team?
That it really doesn't, even 10 years in, it doesn't really let up. We won a game last night, and I'm abuzz about it. I barely slept. When we lose games, I barely sleep because I toss and turn and worry about them. That's 10 years in. I expected that the first few years, but it hasn't calmed down that much. It's something I've asked for. It can be a real grind. It's a grind for the players. It's a grind for the coaches. But you'd sure miss it if you ever left.
Do you feel it hard sometimes to separate the fan from the owner? I'm thinking about
there's no separation.
There's no separation.
If you're not a fan, you shouldn't be an owner. Now you can be in it, and they can be great investments. This has been a very good investment for us. Knock on wood. It's just been a fantastic investment. That's not why we did it. It's worked that way because we are fans and we put it all into the team, and then it goes well. And the TV rights have gone up, which nobody necessarily expected, and that's made it a fantastic investment. But you really should be a fan, or you shouldn't be an owner.
All right, Michael, so let's talk a little more about the Celtics. They've obviously upped the in-house technology on the cutting edge, as they said, but what about the rest of the in-arena experience? How have they enhanced that?
Well, the lesson I took away from the Celtics, Bob, is even though that they're a tenant in the building, because Delaware North, which owns the Bruins, also owns TD Garden, they've become a partner with Delaware North. So they've done things like reconfigure courtside seating. So the Celtics now, for example, generate $12 million a year from club seats. That's almost twice as much as the team was generating when they bought it a decade ago. So they've figured out how to enhance more premium seating. The other thing they've done is they've reconfigured some tables and put some sponsorships to where they knew the TV camera would be on those ads almost the entire game. So they've generated more sponsorship revenue. The electronic scoreboard, not only does that make things obviously better for the fans at the game, but it also brings in more sponsorship revenue. So they've really formed a good partnership with Delaware North, and I think that's really helped them. And then, of course, the big thing that's going to help them in the future that you and I always talk about now, TV. Their new TV deal, which kicks in 2017, it's going to pay them over the life of the deal an average of more than $70 million a year. They're only getting $20 million right now.
Yep, teams seeing the upside in the NBA, no doubt about it. Now, what is their challenge moving forward in Boston?
I think one is this core group of players that they had, they won the championship with, is getting old. They signed Kevin Garnett prior to this season. They gave him a big contract. He's going to be 39 at the end of the 3-year period. And I think what they charge for tickets has kind of peaked. They have the 5th highest ticket price in the league right now. I don't think they can get much more for that. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're able to generate more revenues above what they've done with their courtside seating and advertising and new TV deal.